Namaste, angels. This is the weekly general reading for the period of Sunday, December 30th, 2018, through Saturday, January 5th, 2019, which sounds insane, but is actually the case. And I mentioned last week about breaking jewelry, loss of jewelry, how my own jewelry had not broken or been lost, but had slipped off my arm nonetheless. The lock, the clasp had just come open and it just came off completely intact. And I talked about other people actually losing things and stones breaking and some sort of energy of joy stealing, 7 of Swords, trying to keep you away from your money. Then I heard of lost ATM cards and all kinds of stuff. Well, I also talked about witchcraft, quote unquote, black magic. I'm not really a fan of the term, but dark magic, evil magic, and how it had been performed not only on us, on some of the feminine, but in large part on many of the masculine. And all of those things together is obviously, we can be summarized as attack. Those are all forms of attack. And right before I did this reading, I was moved to just read, to open it with a small piece from Psalm 11, which I think is connected to the attack. This is why God wanted me to read this piece. And what's really cool about this, this couple of lines from Psalm 11 is that where it says the Lord, the Lord can easily be replaced with karma, the universe, or with, whichever deity one believes, if they don't want to say the Lord. I'm going to start from Psalm 11, line 4, verse 4. The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord is on his heavenly throne. He observes everyone on earth. His eyes examine them. The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked, those who love violence, he hates with a passion. On the wicked he will rain fiery coals and burning sulfur. A scorching wind will be their lot. For the Lord is righteous. He loves justice. The upright will see his face. And I feel that we will be seeing justice upright on the table today. I got, right before I was to start this reading, I heard, that I was to read that. So there you have that. All right, so I'm going to move from there to what is going on in the Christian calendar this week, beginning with the end of December, December 30th, the first day for which this reading is. It is the feast day of the Holy Family. So I'll talk to you about what that means. Then going into January 1st is the feast day of Mary, Mother of God. And then the Thursday the 3rd, the most holy name of Jesus. So we'll talk about all 3 of those. Next week is the Epiphany. The Feast of the Holy Family from www.britannica.com. The Feast of the Holy Family is primarily a Roman Catholic religious festival falling on the first Sunday after Christmas, although a major feast day is dedicated to each member of the Holy Family, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Those also exist. The Feast of the Holy Family commemorates their life together, and the celebration focuses on religious family life because of the flight of the Holy Family into Egypt. A feast for the Holy Family has been observed by the Copts from early times. In Western Christianity, however, a cult of veneration for the Holy Family as a group rather than individuals did not arise until the 17th century and was not officially recognized until the feast day was formally instituted in 1921, which is 1304 or 1111. Under Pope Benedict XV is when this was done. Originally celebrated on the Sunday after the Epiphany, which is January 6th, the Feast of the Holy Family was moved to the Sunday after Christmas in 1969. bringing it within the Christmas season. Mary, Mother of God, I'm going to get from www.franciscanmedia.org. Mary's divine motherhood broadens the Christmas spotlight. Mary has an important role to play in the incarnation of the second person of the Blessed Trinity. She consents to God's invitation conveyed by the angel Luke, which is found in Luke 1:26 through 38. Elizabeth proclaims, quote, most blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And how does this happen to me, that the mother of my Lord should come to me? End quote. She was talking about when Mary went to visit her, because Elizabeth was pregnant too. Elizabeth was like 6 months pregnant when Mary went to visit her and stay with her and help her, because she was starting to get big and stuff. But she still felt, super special that the mother of who was to be the Messiah was visiting her, even though it was her cousin. Anyway, Luke 1:42 through 43, emphasis added, Mary's role as a mother of God places her in a unique position in God's redemptive plan. Without naming Mary, Paul asserts that, quote, God sent his son, born of a woman, born under the law, end quote, Galatians 4:4. Paul's further statement that, quote, God sent the spirit of his son into our hearts, crying out, Abba, Father, end quote, helps us to realize that Mary is the mother to all the brothers and sisters of Jesus. Some theologians also insist that Mary's motherhood of Jesus is an important element in God's creative plan, God's, quote, first thought in creating Jesus. Jesus, the incarnate Word, is the one who could give God perfect love and worship on behalf of all creation. As Jesus was, quote unquote, first in God's mind, Mary was, quote unquote, second, insofar as she was chosen from all eternity to be his mother. The precise title, quote unquote, Mother of God, goes back at least to the 3rd or 4th century. In the Greek, Theotokos, or God-bearer, it became the touchstone of the church's teaching about the incarnation. The Council of Ephesus in 431 insisted that the Holy Fathers were right in calling the Holy Virgin Theotokos. At the end of this particular session, crowds of people marched through the street shouting, quote unquote, praise be to the Theotokos. The tradition reaches to our own day. In its chapter on Mary's role in the church, Vatican II's dogmatic constitution on the church calls Mary, quote unquote, Mother of God 12 times. Other themes come together at today's celebration as well. It is the octave of Christmas. Our remembrance of Mary's divine motherhood injects a further note of Christmas joy. It is a day of prayer for the world peace. Mary is the mother of the Prince of Peace. It is the first day of a new year. Mary continues to bring new life to her children, who are also God's children. And lastly, the most holy name of Jesus, also from www.franciscanmedia.org. Although St. Paul may claim credit for promoting devotion to the holy name because Paul wrote in Philippians that God the Father gave Christ Jesus, quote, that name that is above every name, end quote. This devotion became popular because of the 12th century Cistercian monks and nuns, but especially through the preaching of Saint Bernardine of Siena, a 15th century Franciscan. Bernardine used devotion to the holy name of Jesus as a way of overcoming bitter and often bloody class struggles and family rivalries or vendettas in Italian cities. The devotion grew partly because of Franciscan and Dominican preachers. It spread even more widely after the Jesuits began to promote it in the 16th century. In 1530, Pope Clement V approved an office of the holy name for the Franciscans. In 1721, Pope Innocent XIII extended this feast to the entire church. Reflection. Jesus died and rose for the sake of all people. No one can trademark or copyright Jesus' name. Jesus is the Son of God and the Son of Mary. Everything that exists was created in and through the Son of God. Colossians 1:15 through 20. The name of Jesus is debased if any Christian uses it as justification for berating non-Christians. Jesus reminds us that because we are all related to him, we are therefore all related to one another. And that he further goes on to say that there's one God. And Jesus was not a Christian. Christianity was not a thing. It is something that was created after he was dead in his name, not even as in following what he taught and what he practiced. Because Christianity includes the Old Testament, which is what Jesus came and said to get rid of, because he said he brought a new covenant. So basically, people just put a whole bunch of books together, pulled some out, threw them in the garbage, hid them, and then decided, let's stamp his name on it and call this his teaching. It's really horrible. Anyway, there's nothing on the Jewish calendar or the Islamic calendar this week. Next week, they both celebrate new moons. I'm sorry, new months, right after the new moon. We will celebrate the new moon. The whole world, this week. Beginning with, first, a couple of other events on the celestial calendar, starting with December 31st at 9:20 p.m., Mars enters Aries. Then, on January 1st at 5:15 a.m., Jupiter will be sesquiquadrate the true node, which is currently Cancer. January 4th at 10:40 p.m., Mercury enters Capricorn. And then on January 5th, yes, the whole world will have a new moon at 8:28 p.m., at least in the Eastern time zone, and a partial solar eclipse as well, both in Capricorn. So starting with Mars and Aries from www.tarot.com. Mars and Aries, active, exciting, and motivated. Mars transits through Aries is an amazing time of initiation and activity. If there's something that you've been hesitant to start, Mars and Aries will help you to finally get the ball rolling. Mars is the planet that rules Aries, which means both of their energies are very similar and very in sync with one another. This isn't a confusing time when you aren't sure which way to turn. Mars in Aries is a time of great confidence, increased drive, and powerful beginnings. When Mars is in Aries, Mars is the planet of action. So when he's in Aries, he's on top of the world. He's strong, independent, and fierce. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that will stand in his way. No matter what he wants to accomplish, Mars in Aries is always triumphant. Fiery Aries is a cardinal sign characterized by immediacy, activity, and pioneering. So Mars fits perfectly into this fast-paced environment. Because there's little resistance during Mars in Aries, it almost feels like our obstacles melt away. But it's not like they've totally disappeared. We're just too driven and confident to be daunted by them. Even though we'll probably face these obstacles at some point down the road, that's not the point of Mars in Aries. This transit is not about planning. It's about moving forward, regardless of what may stand in your way later. We'll want to blaze trails, push ourselves, and to tone our bodies and minds. We'll be more likely to do things we've never done before during this transit. Mars and Aries are both about trying, not about winning. Success comes from participation rather than conquest. And while this incredible surge in energy can be beneficial, it can also become a challenge in our lives and relationships. Because we're less concerned with consequences, impulsive behavior is likely. We may find that we experience more outbursts of anger, or that our direct approach rubs others the wrong way. Mars in Aries makes us feel like it's my way or the highway, which means we aren't willing to meet others halfway. We could end up butting heads more frequently due to the aggressive energy in the air. If you were born with Mars in Aries, they have something here for you as well that you may wish to check out. Mercury enters Capricorn from www.cafeastrology.com. Mercury is in Capricorn from, here it says January 11th through 31st. But on that other, it says January 4th at 10:40 p.m. on the calendar. So I'm going to ignore their January 11th and just tell you what happens according to them when Mercury is there. When Mercury is in Capricorn, our thinking is methodical and our focus is sober and practical. It's easier to concentrate on the task at hand under this influence. Our conversations may be quite realistic or focused on business and practical matters. Our thought patterns and communication styles may become more logical, orderly, and organized. We are more able to sort out what is relevant and essential. Realism enters the picture. Our speech is no nonsense, and precision becomes important to us. We need to be wary of becoming too rigid in our thinking. We may come across as cold or harsh. For some, there is a fine line between realism and pessimism. That sounds super Mercury. Not the realism and pessimism part, but coming off as cold and all that stuff. And lastly, for this week, the new moon and partial solar eclipse, also from www.cafeastrology.com. This occurs, according to them, at 8:28 and 36 seconds p.m. Eastern Standard Time, January 5th, 2019. A solar eclipse occurs on Saturday, January 5th, 2019 at 15 degrees and 25 minutes of Capricorn. Its effects can be felt up to 6 months after the actual date of the eclipse. In the Saturn-ruled sign of Capricorn, public life, career, reputation, achievement, and accountability are strong focus. This eclipse is about new beginnings regarding all these matters. This is a time for settling practical, attainable goals, working on developing maturity and common sense in the personality, considering the future and preparing for it, focusing on concrete ways of developing self-discipline and self-mastery, finding ways to give satisfying form to wishes, making commitments and recognizing responsibilities, accepting that we are limited and that ironically, some of our limitations truly free us to explore deeper dimensions of experience by offering us a secure foundation and nurturing our dreams in a realistic fashion. Capricorn teaches us that recognizing our limitations actually frees us to focus on what matters, where we are, who we are, and where we want to go. With the potent Capricorn energy of the solar eclipse, we have the chance to make important changes in our lives that will benefit us well beyond the moon cycle. For some of us, circumstances are such that we need to pay more attention to these matters. Flaws in an important system in our lives are revealed around the time of the eclipse, prompting us to redo or to start fresh. Something ends in order for something else to start anew. We may be called to give up something in order to move forward into a new chapter of our lives. Although the new may be unrecognizable, it's important to allow the necessary surrender to the unknown. The eclipse's point itself in between Pluto and Saturn, however, so a free feeling of being stuck can prompt a new beginning. Ambitions are strong, but so are pressures to perform and perhaps a bit of paranoia as well. The harmonious sextile to Neptune helps us access our intuition and compassion. Major developments in the personal areas ruled by Capricorn in our charts are likely to occur over the course of the next 3 to 6 months. However, because this is part of a series of eclipses falling in Cancer Capricorn, that axis, we can extend this range further. The first eclipse falling along this axis happened in July of 2018, and the last will occur in July of 2020. Not everyone will feel the effect of the eclipse with the same intensity. Those whose personal planets are activated by the degree of the eclipse will most feel its effects on a personal level. And if you want to read more about eclipses, you can do so there on their page. But I am going to go to the dice. beginning with forget it. Massage. And Baisuz. Whoop. Okay. Spirit says it's 50-50. Romantic dinner. And spend money. Going to the cards, I'm beginning with Major Arcana card 17, the Star, which represents the planet Uranus in the sign of Aquarius, which it rules. Happy times, make positive, optimistic, long-term plans. You are on the right path. This is also about communication. Could be online dating or some other sort of technology-based communication, texts, maybe phone calls, email, all that kind of stuff. FaceTime. And opening to another 8, okay? This is Major Arcana card 17 equals 8. 8 is the number all about karma and everything. And opening to the 8 of Fire. Events moving at a fast pace. Delays are over and many things are happening at once. This can also be about prayers being answered, wishes coming true, being granted, dreams coming true. I don't think I mentioned that. This too is about communication. So we've got these 2 cards, and also the universe or karma doing something behind the scenes, right, to help to move you forward. A Star, and the 9 of Fire. Don't give up. Protect that which you've created. Have courage and believe in yourself. The Star. Major Arcana card Balance, number 14, which is Temperance in the traditional tarot. All about healing, restoration, compromise. Like maybe we, you're into black, I'm into white. We can meet somewhere in the middle with gray, that sort of thing. There's a need for balance and moderation, cooperation and compromise. Wait for perfect timing. Opposite the Star, this is some super karmic and healing energy to sort of balance out the scales, to temper everything. Make it fair, moderate. Work for everybody. Star. And the 4 of Earth, being too frivolous or too cautious with money. Good business decisions and giving to those less fortunate. The 4 of Earth is also, it can be about emotions too, like giving too much of oneself or withholding, one's love, emotions, thoughts, feelings, communication. It can also be about planning, well. Like people look at it as like a card of being cheap and holding on to your money too tight. But it can also be about like setting your foundation. So you started a savings account or something too. Or you've started to build a nest egg. And that can certainly be somebody's, wish or dream come true. Prayers being answered, they can finally set some money aside or something. And opening to Major Arcana card number 13, Death, or it's release in this deck, but it's Major Arcana card Death, which represents the sign of Scorpio, the planet Pluto, which it rules, or which rules it. The end of a phase or situation. Spiritual transformation. It's time to move on. So we just heard about things needing to end so that new things could begin. That's what Death is all about. And opposite the Star, it looks like we want some things to come to an end, and we want the old chapter to close so that we can move into the new chapter. That's our dream come true. That's our wish. That's our prayer. We've intended that. That's what we're trying to manifest. I'll do one more. It's the 6 of Earth. Gifts of money, time, or effort. New career opportunities and receiving a loan or paying off debts. This card for me is about unconditional love, whether it's about money or actual just love, the emotion, the feeling. It's about being able to both give and receive without agenda. The Star. Ugh. Womp womp. It's the 5 of Air. An unwise choice. Learn what you can from this situation. Review everyone's motives. The 5 of Air can be about conflict. And if it's not about one person's inner conflict or being conflicted, it could be with anybody. Like I feel about the Five of Wands, for example, that it tends to be about close friends and or family, but this can be even strangers, like somebody stepped on your foot in the street and y'all got into it, right? But is often also conflict in which we had a hand, like we brought it upon ourselves, not necessarily on purpose, like maliciously. Sometimes we just make a presumption, we say something, we do something that, we meant one way, but it starts something else in motion. And next thing we know, here comes the bullshit and the drama. So that's the Five of Air. Oh boy, we're on a roll. The overall energy is the Five of Earth. Fears surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others, and uncertain self-employment. The fear of Earth is about a lack, or at least a feeling of lack. Fear of lack, whether it is financial, material, or emotional. Like a relationship being devoid of something. Are you worrying that it will be because your last relationship was, or your childhood was? Fear of abandonment, fear of commitment, just this fear and lack. This is not one of my favorites. None of the fives are really. Here we go. Let's see what else we get. General reading. Kind of the masculine this week. It's the Queen of Air, independent, experienced, realistic and witty, objective decision making, clearing away all that no longer serves you and seeing the humor in a situation. Maybe this is the Libra that I felt coming in this week. The Queen of Air is in fact a Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Can be an actual person in the masculine's life, being a court card and all. Could be his own energy personally too. Surrounded by the Nine of Earth, enjoying life's little luxuries, spending quiet time alone, and successful self-employment. This is about the need to, get to know yourself a little bit better. Enjoy spending time alone and with yourself to, get to know yourself a little bit better, to like yourself, to love yourself even. This could be as a result of having pulled a Queen of Air and cutting off some people. So now you're by yourself. Or shutting some people out and saying, listen, I need my space for a moment to get into me and do some nurturing and all that, which is quite all right for anyone to do and actually encouraged. Masculine subconscious, very nice. Major Arcana card number 10, the Wheel. A time of positive change. A situation suddenly moves forward and fortune is on your side. So something that was stuck, maybe a relationship that you wanted to end, or something, and it was stuck, that energy there, you couldn't get rid of it. Now you have. Or it could be your financial situation. Nine of Earth tends to be about doing well, at least in the week, like if you have a business or at your job, you're good this week. You can afford to go get your hair cut or whatever it is you're into, buy some new shoes, the new Jordans dropped or whatever it is. You can do that. But maybe you hadn't been able to earlier. Maybe you spent too much money for the holidays or Christmas or something, and so you couldn't spend any more money. But this week you can, with the Wheel. And then the die said spend money too. Yeah, the last one said spend money. Crowning the feminine. It is a Death again. Major Arcana card, Death. Release in this deck, but it's Death. Number 13. The end of a phase or situation. Spiritual transformation. It is time to move on. So the feminine having to let something go. Allow something to end. Again, Death represents the sign of Scorpio. Can be an actual person in her life. Maybe her own energy. Feminine surrounded by the Ace of Water. Very nice. Falling in love. The resurgence of a relationship. Spiritual growth and enhanced intuition. Maybe even a new home. Feminine could be getting back together with a Scorpio specifically, maybe with all this water showing up. Not necessarily, but that could easily be. Or starting a new relationship with one, with a Scorpio. Or again, maybe she's a Scorpio or a water sign. Starting something new with somebody. This is about reunion, new home, new baby, anything that would bring you or bring a person, emotional fulfillment. But often and at least the way it's laid out here, maybe because something else ended, it allows for this new beautiful energy to come in. Let me move this over a little bit too. It can be better in frame. Is that better? Feminine subconscious here. It is Major Arcana card, the King of Fire, motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Take advice from someone creative. Maybe this is the Mars that we just read about. Mars is a ruler of Scorpio. Also Aries, which it's entering this week. Leo. Well, Mars is not a ruler, but the King of Fire can be a Leo or a Sagittarius as well, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Also, the King of Fire is the quintessential divine masculine of the tarot. Crowning, it is Major Arcana card 16, life experience, which is the Tower. A significant life event, a powerful revelation that leads to change. It's time to spread your wings. So some of you know that the Tower also has the energy of, or an energy similar to death and of Scorpio for me. And like death, I'm a fan of death, the card. The energy that Major Arcana card 13 brings. And like death, the Tower, at least at the onset, can go either way, right? There's sometimes with death, it's never scary for me. Like I said, I like it all the time, but sometimes with death, there's things that we don't want to let go of. We want to keep holding on even though they need to end, and so that's why it can go either way, because you're like, no, no, no. And sometimes you're happy to let go of stuff. So it can be good, it can be bad, depending upon, a person's mood or whatever. And that's how the Tower is, at least on the onset. Sometimes something's happening and because it comes in really unexpectedly and we're not ready for certain things to occur, to end, to be jolted, to be knocked off our feet. And so that's why, sometimes for some people it can be scary. But it always leads to something good, in my opinion. Like, even if it's, initially, like, we're turned upside down in a way that we don't know what to do with ourselves, something better always seems to follow. So that's the Tower. And it can have to do with an actual home, an actual structure, building, tower, especially crossing the Ace of Water. Could be something new for a feminine. Maybe she's moving, right? She's leaving her old childhood home behind and going to, get her own or something like that. Also for the masculine, yeah, he could be suddenly alone, he could be suddenly alone. He hadn't expected to be, maybe, but this energy comes in very quickly, and next thing he knows, he's telling people to go fuck off, and then they're gone, because he's the Queen of Air, and then they're gone, and he's happy, and he spends some time alone. At the root, it is the Six of Earth. Gifts of money, time, or effort, new career opportunities, and receiving a loan or paying off debts. Again, this is all about unconditional love for me. I love seeing it here, crossing the Ace of Water and even the Nine of Earth. Like, why can't we show ourselves unconditional love first and foremost? Why don't we? Really is the question, because we really should. We got to begin with ourselves if we're going to be able to show it in a healthy way to other people. So that's awesome. At the heart of the matter, whoa. Some people are getting back together. That's for sure this week. At the heart of the matter, we have Major Arcana card Judgment, which also represents the planet Pluto and the sign of Scorpio for me. Review and evaluate a favorable assessment of the facts. It's time to move in a new direction. Now, as it relates to money, finances, material, even love, Judgment is about abundance that is earned. Similar to the Three of Earth for me, right? You are deserving of this. This is your promotion, your raise, your recognition, your accolades, your awards. Sometimes it's ascension because the universe is promoting us, right? The universe, when God promotes you, he lifts your spirits. And then it's as above, so below. So when that happens, you start to see things materialize in your life down here too, in the third, the third dimensional plane. As it relates to relationships with other people, it's a crossroad. It's a crossroad. And we've come to this crossroad and we got to decide, where do we go from here, if anywhere? And it's clear, at least on the side of the masculine, that in some cases the answer is nowhere. We're done. That's the ending. And for the feminine, for some, again, it's a new start. And for some, there's something unnew or renewed that had been, had existed before and maybe paused, and now it's back. I'm going to further clarify these. Speaking of manifestation and potentially a Gemini here, I'm going to further clarify these with, beginning with Major Arcana card number 1, the Magician in my Animal Tarot. There's magic in the air. You can manifest everything you need to be successful. The Magician is a Gemini. And so is the Ace of Winter. Implementation of your brilliant new idea. Make it off to a rocky start, but keep going. The challenges will help you to refine your plan and to reshape your goals into something even better. That sounds very Mercury in Capricorn, which we just read about, that occurs this week. Mercury, of course, ruler of Gemini and Virgo, the Magician. And speaking of Capricorn, Mercury in Capricorn, it is Major Arcana card 15, Ego, or the Devil. You may find that you're trapped in a situation, but that's not true. You may feel like you're trapped in a situation, rather. It's not true. Be careful not to overly focus upon material wealth and to break free of negative thinking. Yes, somebody said earlier on Facebook that, you should highly focus on stuff that you want to manifest it. I had to disagree, as we just read. And she used the word attachment also. You're a highly emotional attachment. Attachment is a negative emotion. It's akin to obsession. And once we start doing that, it actually has the reverse effect. We end up blocking our blessings rather than manifesting them. Anyway, manifestation. And it's another king of spring, or king of fire. Now's your moment to step into a leadership role. Don't back away from the spotlight, as your plans will be successful as long as you stay focused upon the big picture. The king of spring is inspiring, dramatic, ambitious, and wise. And I think he is Mars, right? This week. I think he is Mars in Aries. We can also represent the sign of Aries on its own. Leo, Sagittarius, maybe even Scorpio, because again, Mars is a ruler of Scorpio too. And again, is the divine masculine of the tarot. Magician. And it's another star too. We started with the star with this deck. You're about to take a big leap forward with your life. Worry will be replaced with optimism, fear with hope, and joy is coming home to roost. So this is another Major Arcana card, 17 equals 8. Again, 8s are all about karmic energy. Just like that passage that I started with, Psalm 11. And I said you could replace the Lord with karma, because I felt like, the universe was about to be doing things on our behalf behind the scenes. That's what those 8s mean. The Magician. I'll do one more. Speaking of 8s, it's my least favorite of all of the 8s. The 8 of Winter. This one's like the Devil in the tarot. It's that same kind of energy, only this is Minor Arcana, and of course the Devil is Major. It's so easy to convince yourself that you're trapped when you really aren't. Trust that God will lift you to new heights and give you a greater sense of self-confidence if you first affirm your freedom. So I think that this is like reaffirming what I was just saying about why I was meant to read that Psalm 11, that piece of Psalm 11, that God is lifting us to new heights. God, has got our back. God is doing some things behind the scenes. God, karma, justice, the universe, whatever you want to call it. But again, we have to affirm also, because prayer without works, as they say, is dead. I mentioned that a few times last week too. You can't just make intentions and not, you know, put any energy toward them yourself. It's another Five of Swords too. Womp womp. Your current path isn't leading you toward the happiest possible outcome, so why not change it? Always maintain integrity and compassion, but be alert to the hidden agendas of others. So the same thing I said about the last Five of Winter or Air or Swords. It's how I feel about this one. It's about being conflicted. But notice the placement. Notice when it showed up. This is the same time that the other one showed up. Upon completing the cut, picking up all the cards, this was the last one, or the one that ended up on top. So I think that there's something to that too. This overall energy is much better than that Five of Earth, though, that we got with the other one. Major Arcana card 3, the Empress. It's time to leap into action. Use your natural creativity to bring forth prosperity and success in your life. Threes are indeed about creativity as well as prosperity. They're about abundance. And the Empress, Major Arcana card, Major Arcana card 3, the Empress, which represents the planet Venus, is certainly about abundance, because Venus rules abundance, love, finances, the material, beauty, confidence, popularity. All of those are attributed to Venus. Venus also is the ruler of the signs of Taurus, Libra. So there's that Libra I mentioned again, and Gemini. Atop the Queen of Air, the Eight of Summer. You feel that there's more to life than what you're living, so it's time to move on. You may be moving from a situation that isn't good for you, or perhaps you're being drawn to what would make you happy. Either way, you're in control. And as the Queen of Air, again, you are good at making adjustments to your life, whether it means taking some stuff away or adding some stuff or people. Atop the Nine of Earth and spending time alone, getting to know yourself a little bit better, is the Six of Spring. Very nice. You may receive a promotion, be chosen for a scholarship, or find that you're singled out for a special recognition. You've done an amazing job and you deserve all the attention. So this sits next to what I said was the card that was all about that, Judgment. And I think that this is, at least in part, that promotion, from the universe, from God that I was talking about, that he has enabled you, made you successful, raised you up in some way, brought you to new heights, like the Eight of Swords just said to us too, in some way that has enabled you to spend some time with yourself and to be more abundant, at least in your positive energy and your confidence. Atop Major Arcana card, the Wheel, which represents the planet Jupiter and the sign of Sagittarius, which Jupiter rules, as well as the fixed signs, Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus. A time of positive change. The situation suddenly moves forward and fortune is on your side. And it's blessed with this other additional fire energy, right? This is Jupiter and Sagittarius. That's fire energy. Jupiter helping you to move forward. And it gives you the Four of Spring, which is the Four of Wands, all about contentment, right? Peace, happiness, commitment. It could be a new home or doing some sort of home project. You could be moving. This is about moving on or moving toward people, moving into commitment, maybe with an air sign, or you're the air sign. One is air, maybe one is fire, or one is a Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, or Taurus, right? Connected to Jupiter in that sense. But this goes also toward your promotion that we got here and that we're getting here with Judgment. This has enabled you to to move forward in some way, something that's going to bring you peace of mind, if nothing else. For the feminine, a top major arcana card, Death, which I said represents the sign of Scorpio. It is the king of summer. Here he is. He's very possibly a Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful. A trustworthy person or a relationship enters your life. You may receive wise and compassionate advice from someone who speaks directly from the heart. Somebody could keep it real with you, and you can appreciate that. So, you know, you can tell it's coming from a place of love, right? It's genuine. And this can be still romantic, even if you get that sort of words from the heart. It can be somebody pouring their heart out to you and being honest, maybe about something that occurred. If it's a past event, because sitting here atop the ace, again, this can be about a couple getting back together if it's not about something brand new. Atop that ace is major arcana card, Awakening, card number 12. Look at things in a different way and all will make sense. Don't worry if your progress is halted temporarily. Things will soon start moving again. So this could be like a stop and go. Maybe a relationship starts to get started. You meet somebody, it starts to get started, and then it's like, okay, why isn't he calling me? Why isn't she calling me? What happened? Don't panic. Just consider that something else may be going on. Look at it a different way. Or if you're getting back together, same thing. If it seems to stall, like it got started and then all of a sudden we're stuck again, we're not moving, give it a moment. Major arcana card, Awakening, represents or is the hangman first and foremost in the traditional tarot. So it represents the planet Neptune in the sign of Pisces, which it rules. And we just read about Neptune being involved in some of these other transits that are going on. Was sequiquadrate the true node, which is Cancer. So that coming into that water and mirroring, in fact, the water here. I think it was that one. So don't panic. Just look at things in a different way and, you know, move with the energy. Go with the flow, as they say. Atop the King of Fire. Aw, the Two of Summer. You're falling in love or experiencing a deepening of emotion in your current relationship. Marriages or romantic partnerships that were in distress can also still be saved. Don't give up. And that may involve looking at things in a different way too. And then taking some sort of action like Mars would do, like Jupiter would do, fiery energy, pursuing your passions, or at least making a decision to do so in this placement. With the Two of Cups mirroring the Four of Wands, this can definitely be about commitment to, especially sitting here underneath the Six of Wands, which is about victory. Atop the Tower, so maybe this love or good feelings, happy relationships, or the end of relationships that were toxic. Maybe again, it came suddenly. It's here with the Tower. Atop it is the Four of Winter. So maybe now you need some sort of recovery because you went through that. Thoroughly think things through before making a decision. Continuing to overanalyze isn't going to get you any closer to a resolution. But meditation and prayer will bring you the answers you seek. So that can be connected to looking at something in a different way, right? Rather than meditation or prayer, it can be like considering it in a different way. But the Four of Winter or Swords or Air is also about recovery, restoration, a period of rest. So after being turned upside down, you may need a break. Or this revelation that you come to, if this is an aha moment, may cause you to have to make some sort of decision. Atop the Six of Earth is Major Arcana card 11, Strength. True strength is displayed through kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. You have tremendous personal power and courage. And with strength sitting here atop the Six of Earth, I think that this is more so about the ability to receive. Most of us are good at giving, but not always so good at receiving. Together, these two make another 8, by the way, that karmic number and energy again. And this is going to be different this time. We're going to have the strength to face whatever's coming here, even somebody wanting to give us love in some form. Because sometimes that's what's scary, and that's what we can't face, and that's what we can't handle. We are going to be able to handle it this time with the strength and the courage. And here, it's like even the peacefulness of a lion, right? This lion is chilling out with a lamb. He's been calmed. And so that's how we'll be too. Just able to very confidently, sort of like what we described with that Mars and Aries. And it sits here next to the King of Fire. So that's not surprising. You know, how you're just going to be able to face anything and then worry about the consequences later. Or maybe not at all, you know? And here, how can the consequences be bad? Right? They're about love. So this is like preventing you from missing an opportunity for love, basically. At the heart of the matter, a top major arcana card, Judgment. The Three of Winter. Sadness is a part of life, but you don't have to endure it alone. You may need a little time to heal, but once you work through your emotions, you'll be stronger than before. I think that this is where things are ending, or where things have ended, or for some, may be connected to past hurt. Because we can see right here in the spread, we've already moved on to the Four of Winter. We've already moved on from this Three of Winter. So this isn't a new cut, right? This may have been the first cut and therefore the deepest, but it's not a new cut. Except where the hurt or sadness is connected to moving on from someone or something. Again, maybe an air sign, or maybe you're moving toward an air sign, or maybe this is your energy and you are being very air sign like, and that's what enabled you to cut somebody off, or combinations of those, or cut something off. I think that that's what's, you know, what caused any sadness or feeling of loss. But we're already moving on from it and getting our strength back and recovering and looking at things in a different way. Like, yeah, okay, that ended. I broke up with him. I broke up with her, but my ex is back. You know what I mean? It's like that sort of thing. Further advice for this week. Not very many pentacles other than the 6 and the 9. Not that those aren't awesome ones. And this funky overall energy of the 5. I mean, those are awesome ones, but I think that this week seems to be more about love, emotion. If it's not love, emotions, working through some sort of things, something that pulls at our heartstrings, and also passions, maybe actual work, pursuing, you know, that could be labor, pursuing our passions at work too. We did have the Empress too, though, and that's a major card of Earth. As it relates to Venus being the ruler of Taurus and the Empress being about abundance. So I think we're good in all areas on this general reading this week. Finances, material, friendship, love. But we may experience some loss that will be replaced by something new. Speaking of something ending and something new starting, I also wanted to use my surrender cards this week to see what can we leave in 2018. Like, what should we be surrendering, letting go of, and leaving in 2018, since this reading this week spans, you know, from the end of December of 2018 into January 2019. What can we be done with by, you know, the end of next week, or should we be done with? Beginning with surrender fear. Let go of the fearful stories that you're telling yourself and stay in the moment. Focus on solutions and celebrate every baby step forward. And opening to surrender your belief in scarcity. This is that feeling of lack, that 5 of Earth. The universe is asking you to open the infinite nature of abundance. In this way, you can remove blocks from your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. Surrender low self-esteem. You deserve success, love, and abundance. Set an intention to identify and release any remnants of low self-esteem. And also surrender to non-action. Now's the time to be still and to not act. Simply breathe and focus on your own power and let others come to you. And lastly, surrender the habit of people pleasing. Speak your needs and be true to yourself. Focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. Boom. That's what I was talking about right here when I was talking about the inability to receive. We're good at giving, but we have trouble taking. This week, we're going to be stronger at that. We're going to be better at that. Surrender low self-esteem. You deserve success, love, and abundance. Set an intention to identify and release any remnants of low self-esteem and then leave that shit in 2018. What else can we leave? Masculine. Surrender worry. Make a commitment not to lead an anxiety-driven life. When worries arise, breathe them out of your body. Focus on the power of your heart and have faith that Spirit is guiding you always. Feminine for us, surrender to creativity. Let your imagination soar. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or to solve a problem. From the angel therapy cards to the masculine. Ascended masters. Powerful, loving, and wise spiritual teachers are watching over and guiding you. Feminine, God box for us. Write any worries, concerns, or ideas on a piece of paper that you put into a special container called a God box as a way of letting go and allowing the divine to help you. I just got, some of us do have to let go, maybe of a water sign, maybe more specifically a Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, like let go of the idea of that. And that could be 3 of winter also. But again, we're going to recover, and that is going to be replaced by something new. So he's out maybe, and a new one in. And maybe you have any worry or concern about that, about a relationship having ended, it might be what you want to put into a God box. I just burn stuff. Like here's a piece of mine that didn't burn completely. I write letters to God, and then I set them ablaze. But I like fire. You know, not everybody's into that. From the animal tarot to the masculine, here's some worry for you. The 9 of winter. Your worries and fears aren't real. They're fueled by focusing on the negative, which gives power to that of which you're afraid. Stop worrying. Let go of fear, and everything will be okay. It's all right for you to move to the next step, the next chapter, to move away from foolishness. You've got 2 cards about worry. Here's the worry. Here's a card telling you to let go of it and leave it in 2018. Don't take it to the end of the week with you, into the new year with you. And feminine for us, it is unity, which represents the sign of Taurus. Is the Hierophant or the High Priest in the traditional tarot. Embrace this time of deep spiritual growth. You may feel called to act as a mentor, to find a teacher, or to spend time with others who are also on a sacred path. This can be about commitment for you. We got the 2 of Summer. We got the King of Summer. And similar to Judgment, and maybe even the Three of Winter, it can be about us needing to let go of some people, places, and things in our lives that no longer align with us, because we have reached a new height as it relates to our spirituality. These things don't fit with our life anymore, so we have to let them go. That can bring sadness. There's some people that, again, it's the end of the road for our relationship with some people. It's the end of the road with some of these places that we used to hang out, you know, environments that we used to find ourselves in. It's the end of the road with some of the substances we used to use, you know, things that we used to like, games we used to enjoy playing, toys we used to enjoy playing when we were kids, but that time is over. You know, we're different people now. We've grown, not only in age, but again, in spirituality. And so we're releasing some stuff, letting go of some stuff. And sometimes that makes us sad because we're done with that. But at the same time, the growth is an improvement and for the better. I hope that you guys have all enjoyed the general reading. If you did like the video, you learned something from the video, whatever, you enjoyed it, you got it, a bit of all of that, please actually like the video by clicking the like button on YouTube. And then if you're not yet a subscriber, please also do subscribe and then hit the bell button so that you get notifications when I put up a new video, so I don't only have to paste it all over social media that I've uploaded something, since none of my subscribers ever seem to know or get their notifications. On that note, if you are a subscriber who's not getting your notifications, you may want to check your settings, make sure that you are indeed subscribed. If not, you hit the subscribe button and the bell button too. And if you are, and it's really irking you that you're not getting the messages, then contact YouTube, because I can't do anything else to help. If there is something else that I can or should be doing that I'm unaware of that you know about, please do drop it in the comments. Thank you to my subs, thank you to my subscribers, thank you to my sponsors, both on YouTube and on Patreon, and you know, anybody else that enjoys and supports me. Happy New Year. Namaste.